Our issue segment tonight, here's a painful statistic. Over 20 veterans commit suicide each day, according to the Department of Veterans Affairs. One of the biggest factors in veteran suicide, of course, is post-traumatic stress disorder. So the organization VetRest is working to help veterans combat PTSD. Let's talk to them about what they're doing. With me now, retired Army Lieutenant Colonel and CEO of VetRest.org, Colonel Rob Veitchey. Colonel Veitchey, thanks for being here.
Hi, Liz. Thank you for having me on your show. It's a great pleasure today.
Of course. It's good to have you here. And thank you for your service to our nation, too. You served for many years, as I understand, before you even started VetRest. But tell me about VetRest.org.
Well, 22 suicides a day or 20 suicides a day, Liz, is just unacceptable. It's unconscionable in our country. It should not be happening, and we have to do everything we can to stop this madness. You know, for a veteran to get to the crisis point in their life where it's better for them to take their own life than to save it, look for help, and get help is just unimaginable to so many of us. So what we do at VetRest.org is we provide peer-to-peer counselors. Our counselors have been there, done that. They've walked the walk, they talk the talk. You know, we are boots on the ground with our veterans. We have counselors who have been molested, who have tried to commit suicide, who have been blown up, who have TBI, who have pretty much experienced every trauma that we can face. And we are mobilized to help our nation's veterans all across the country now.
Right, and more credit to you. I mean, it's so awful what some of these vets have been through. Talk to me about your success rate. I mean, I know sometimes it does seem as simple as just being able to talk about it to someone who relates to what you've been through, because I think for civilians sometimes it is hard to relate to the trauma that veterans experience overseas. But what's your success rate like?
You know, I'd like to say we're operating 100%, but nothing really operates that greatly. We have a very high success rate, Liz, and here's why. Our veterans care, whether they're volunteers or they're on our pay scale. Right now, we are paying our counselors because we capture their full attention. The most success we're having is because we're finding that there are not only one issue of PTS, but there are many issues that face our veterans. So when they come to us, it's easy for our coaches and counselors to get down and dirty with what our veterans are struggling with, but we also find that there is a homeless situation, a jobless situation, a legal situation, something wrong with their family, or something that's just not connecting. You know, we have veterans that have other veteran spouses, and if the veteran spouse had not deployed or was in a different situation, you know, there might not be enough empathy there. So we are having huge success connecting dots nationally to help our veterans find that peace, find their inner demons, defeat them, and move on to a happier new normal, what we like to call the new normal for where our vets are.
It's incredible what you guys are doing. This topic is one that's near and dear to my heart, not only because I come from a military family, but because I actually worked before this. I worked for a veteran advocacy organization, particularly helping veterans find jobs after they were out of the service. These men and women serve and sacrifice so much. I mean, the government lets them down, frankly. I don't need to tell you that, Colonel. Once they get home, it's up to us. It's up to the citizens they protect to help them. It sounds like you're doing that, but let me ask you this. I know this is kind of a tough question, but what changed? We hear the statistic, 22 suicides a day. This has not always been the case, even though throughout the history of our country, there have been terrible wars. Veterans have experienced trauma. What changed and made more suicides happen now, or veterans more prone to suicide now than before?
I think a lot of it, Liz, is awareness. Is we report the metrics now. We try to find the dynamics of what are going on. And I'm not going to popularize it at all, but our veterans are suffering. They're suffering greatly, and they're finding an alternative method to heal. And it's just so destructive to the family. But I do think that media is putting it out there more and more. You know, the movies we see, the Broadway shows we see, just, you know, relatively demonize what our veterans are faced with. I deal with World War II veterans, Korean War veterans, so many people from Vietnam and World War II that are struggling with what's going on today, that there is that other way out. And we have to do whatever we can to raise awareness, to bring the fight to the vet, to bring help to the vet, and make this stop, because it is completely unacceptable for our nation's fighters to go through this.
We owe it to them.
And their families.
We owe it to them. They fought for us. They fought for our freedom. The least we can do is fight for them, fight for their dignity, fight to help them find employment, fight to help them combat these mental health issues that they have, fight for the health care that they need. That brings me to my last question, Colonel, and that is the VA's response to this crisis. I mean, clearly they have made efforts. I'm not sure that their efforts have translated into the results that we need, into lowering these suicide rates, but in your opinion, what have they missed doing? What do these veterans need that the VA has not provided to them?
The veterans need trust. And that's what it's all about, Liz, is they have to have someone that they can call, not 9 to 5, not on Monday through Friday, but they need someone that they can reach out to and say, I'm struggling with this situation right now. Can you talk me off the ledge? Easter Sunday, I laid on the floor of a restaurant that I was in with my family because I had a 5 combat tour special operator down in Florida who was hyperventilating and struggling, and he was on his floor. I got down, we breathed together, we talked a little bit, we did a few little jargon talks, we prayed for a moment, and we talked him off a ledge. So maybe Easter Sunday we had 19 suicides. And that's just what it boils down to. It's trust. We don't have faith and confidence in our VA system that's healing our veterans. So we want vets to reach out to us, vetrest.org. We need donors to help us pay our coaches, pay our counselors. We don't have any real estate today. We have 6 operating chapters, no real estate costs because we go to where the veteran is. American Legion Hall, a VFW hall, a coffee shop, a restaurant, anywhere to keep the expenses down and to keep the money going to our coaches so we can help the veterans. And we're not a 10-week program. We are perpetual. Our chapter directors fundraise so they can keep the chapters alive, hopefully for now and forever. And the veterans always have someone to call. You know, everyone thinks holidays are a great time for veterans. Many times they're not, and a lot of veterans struggle because we've lost friends on holidays, and our family members sometimes don't understand what we're going through. So that outreach is there, vetrest.org. Contact us if you want to volunteer, if you want to donate. We can use your help because we are easy. We have police officers calling us now and EMT workers calling us now because we are HIPAA compliant and we are free, and we will talk to you, and we will not report to your boss that you're struggling with PTS.
Wow, Colonel, that's amazing. I got the chills when you told that story. I mean, it's incredible. I encourage our viewers to go visit this website, vetrest.org. It's the least we can do to pay back the brave men and women who fought for our freedom. We can talk on this show. The Colonel and I can have this conversation because these men and women put their lives on the line for us. And not everyone gives their life, but they give a part of themselves. They suffer from that. They sacrifice. Let's give back to them. Vetrest.org. Colonel Vici, thanks for coming on the show, and thanks for your service to our nation.